Welcome to our lesson today. I'm Mr. Maseghe, and the learning area is Science Grade 4. Now today we shall look at water pollution. But before we continue with the water pollution, I want us to go back a bit. We look at what we learned in our previous lesson, because the two subtopics are related. So in our previous lesson, we looked at air pollution. We were able to define what pollution is. Secondly, we stated what air pollution is. We went ahead to explain the things that make air to be seen or to be unclean. And also, we looked at the ways of reducing air pollution. And lastly, the effects of air pollution. What are some of the effects when one breathes in air that is not clean or not pure? So just to remind ourselves, I'll just go back to air pollution. We say air pollution is the presence of material in the air that cause harm to the living organism or living things. Anything that is impure and it is present in air, we call it, and it is harmful, then we are calling it air pollution. It pollutes the air, therefore it won't be fit for a living thing to use such air. Then we went ahead to state some agents of air pollution, and we stated that first of all we were able to define what these agents are. What are some of these things that make air to be polluted? So one, we say that substances that cause harm in the living organism are called pollutants. They cause harm to the living organism, we call them pollutants. So anything that is in air and it's causing harm to the organism, then it becomes a pollutant. Then secondly, we also went ahead to say the following are the most common agents of air pollution. We stated about smoke, and especially this one, you look at big industries, find that they emit a lot of smoke, or they release a lot of smoke, and this smoke go a long way to maybe make the air unclean. Therefore, when you smoke, actually that smoke is actually released to the air, you find that once you breathe in, it causes a lot of irritation. There is also another problem that in our homes, those especially who use fire, find that fire is able to release plenty of smoke. Now that smoke goes to the air, and first of all, once if you are the person cooking, you find that that smoke will irritate your eyes. It has that irritating effect to the eyes. Secondly, we looked at dust, and when you talk of dust here, I mean those roads that are very dusty. Most time you find that when vehicle pass, a lot of dust is blown, making it's very hard for any vehicle that is coming behind to not to be able, the driver will not be able to see the way. Therefore, that air now that has been blown, it is that because it has what? Dust particles. Then bad smell, and this one we talked about in length, about dirty toilets, latrine, very uncomfortable. They release a lot of bad smell. Therefore, we go there as a matter of convenience or inconvenience, and therefore find that we are actually, when you go to such a place, it irritates. First of all, the smell is so bad. Let's say like a rotten material. So you find that it is very uncomfortable. So bad smell is also one of the things that cause air pollution. Then we went ahead and we tried to look at the ways of making reducing air pollution. And we say one of the ways, for those dusty roads, we can pour water to them, then we cool down maybe the dust, so that the vehicle, when the vehicle passes, now we find that no much dust will be blown. Therefore, our air will still remain a bit clean. Then another way, we should have pit latrine fitted with ventilation pipes. Toilets in school, like the one we have here in school, should be clean, not releasing bad smell, and by so doing, we are able to keep our surrounding clean, and that is the air around clean. Avoid using fly toilets. I talked about what fly toilets are, and so forth and so forth. Then we went also look at the effects of air pollution. And we say one, smoke in our kitchen irritates the eye. That is one effect. It's very uncomfortable to our eyes. Sometimes when there's smoke and bad smell cause breathing problem. When you breathe a lot, this bad smell for some time, or smoke, or even that dust, it becomes a health hazard. It might cause problem into your body, especially the breathing system. During we also talked about dust particle on the such as the one we have talked about. Maybe when the dust particle in the vehicle rather passes in a road that is dusty, you find that a lot of dust is blown. Now this happens. This air, all of it, lands especially to the crops, and mostly I say it happens to those farmers who have shambas very close to the roads. So for that, most of the time their crops are covered with a lot of dust. This one reduces yield. Remember, the plants have stomata. Sometimes those dirty or dusty particles actually deposited on the leaves. Therefore, breathing in for some crops, it becomes a problem. Why? Because the stomata has actually been closed, or the breathing part of the plant has been actually been closed by the dust. Therefore, the yield reduces. The farmer gets plenty of losses. Now, he won't get what he actually planned before. We also talked about visibility, and we say that sometimes when dust is blown, it makes very hard for a driver or oncoming driver to actually see. Even the pedestrian who is walking, maybe using, or let's say by the roads, it becomes so hard for him to see what is happening. The visibility becomes so low, and therefore it might cause accidents. And this is also one effect of air pollution. So we should try very much to make sure that our air is clean. Much for that. Today, let's look at our topic or subtopic today: pollution of water. Now, what is pollution of water? What is pollution of water? So, pollution of water, we can say, is the presence of pollutants in water. Presence of pollutants in water, or that we can also put it in a very simple term, it's water containing pollutants. And I said pollutant, these are harmful substances that cause harm to the living organism. When water has pollutants, then we say it is polluted, it is not clean. Now you remember that in grade 3, just take you back, in grade 3 you learned that water for domestic purpose should be clean and safe for use. I think that you can remember that. But you should note that clean water may not be safe for drinking. Thus, we should boil to kill any germs that may be present. You might look at, you see water has no color. And when it has color, then that water is contaminated. Water has no color. It is colorless. And therefore, in grade 3, you are told that even the water you see very clear, clean, you always assume that it is very good for drinking. But not all that you see, they say in English, all that glitters is gold. The same water might be having some germs, some particles that are harmful. Therefore, for us to be able to take safe, clean water, it is advisable that we actually boil the water. Then we can say we have taken water that has no impurities, that has no germs. I think learners were together up to there. That one is just to remind you what you learned in grade 3. Now, some of the pollutants, let's look at some of the pollutants that water has. The pollutants in water. Pollutants in water. Some of the pollutants in water include, you can name them. Yes, one we have talked about the smell. If water is smelly, then we say that water is not clean. Water has no smell. I've said water has no color. It is colorless. It should not have any smell. Then another thing that we are also supposed to note: change of color. Change of color. Change of color. If you find water maybe looks greenish, let's say that water is unfit for drinking or for use. Although in some very dry areas people may use that one. If you find water is so much, let's say muddy, looks red, that water is not good for use because it has been polluted. It has other impurities in it. Another thing that maybe we can say water is a pollutant of water. Taste of water. Taste of water. Taste of water. Very, very important. Look at the water you use in your homes. How is it? Does it have one taste? Yes. So if it brings another taste that is a bit odd, then you know that there is something with that particular water. So water without pollutants is clean. And as I've said, not all clean water is safe for drinking. For you to be sure that you have taken or you've drank clean water, you can boil it, or you can also use, let's say, chlorine. These people use chlorine to do what? They put chlorine in water to kill what? To kill germs. Another thing that you're supposed to know, maybe about the pollutants, one of them can be mud. Mud is also another pollutant. When water mixes with mud, obviously it will have taste, it will change color, and so forth. Another thing is oil spills. Oil spills. Now what are we calling oil spills? And most of this will happen in let's say deep waters. Deep waters here I mean in oceans, where let's say ship carry petroleum products, and sometimes there are leakages. And when these leakages happen, remember this sea has creatures, living creatures. Let's say fish. You can name all the living creatures in the sea, fish and so forth. The sharks, the whales, all those. Now, when these things happen, this means that oil drops in oceans. Now, when the oil drops, remember, oil inhibits or prevents circulation of air. So when let's say a large quantity of oil spills in a very large area of the sea, then there is problem. Those creatures which are actually in water will not get enough oxygen, and therefore majority of them will die, and therefore causing a lot of what? This all that it will bring about what you are calling problem to the living creatures. So oil spills is also one thing. Now we have also plastics. Sometimes we deposit or we throw things anyhow. Some of these ones are carried, let's say during rain. We throw so many things, let's say plastics. After eating maybe ice cream, whatever, that cup, you throw it anyhow. When it rains, it's carried by water and it finds its way into water bodies, let's say the sea, the lakes, all that. So if all these things are actually collected together and they are carried to water bodies, you find that this one becomes a pollutant. They pollute. Maybe if it was a source of a good river, find that source will reduce in giving water. Also, if this plastic, remember this plastic, they cannot rot. They cannot rot. So if they go into maybe the sea, As time goes on, they will build up, therefore affecting the lives of the sea creatures. Affecting the lives of sea creatures. Another thing that might be also a pollutant is the sewage from burst pipes. Sewage. Most of us, what we do is we direct sewage, especially to rivers. This will happen mostly especially in Nairobi, where we have big industries. Whatever the industry use, everything is actually carried by big pipes and thrown into rivers. Therefore, this one causes a lot of problem to the surrounding environment. If it's a big industry where a lot of acid is actually left, it is carried and deposited into the river. You find that those creatures that are in that particular water body, one, they will die, and also the environment itself. You find that it will also not be that, it won't be good. The environment won't be good for normal life. So it's upon we to take care of the environment that God has given us. Before that, let's look at also some. Now we've looked at the pollutants. Let's look at some of the sources of water. Sources of water. Where do we get our water from? Sources of water. Yes, Lana. You can name some of the ones you know. Sources of water. There are so many. Well, you can call, say the main one might be rain. The main source of water is rain. Secondly, we can also have the borehole or boreholes. We have rivers and so forth and so forth. There are, you can name as many as you want. Now, these are the sources of water. Now, I found that when water is polluted, one effect of water is that it might cause, when all these water in this, let's say dams, rivers, it won't be good for us. One effect is that we shall not get enough water for human beings. And in fact, that there are times when animals and human beings are in conflict. They are fighting for survival. They will need, each human beings need water, animals too need water. So you find that most of the time, you find that because of actually mismanaging the environment, now we have that human beings animal conflict, whereby now animals are coming from all the way to look for water, and where the only place they can find water is when maybe the river, and this river maybe supply water to the people go there to fetch water. You find that there will be that conflict. Animals want water, human beings want water. So you find that sometimes animals kill human beings because of what? Because of the water. Then we also have what? That is one. So human beings end up having no good water supply. So if you mismanage our environment, we cut trees anyhow, then we have a problem. We shall have a very big problem. We shall actually not be able to get enough water for all of us. Secondly, another effect of water pollution. You find that sometimes when these actually chemicals, or let's talk about impurities, they end up in water bodies. They might cause what we call waterborne diseases. Now, what is waterborne diseases? Or a disease that we're calling it is waterborne. Yes, what is waterborne? Waterborne disease. And then we give example of waterborne disease. What is this we are calling waterborne disease? Yes, Lana? Waterborne disease, it is a disease that is spread through contaminated water. It is, you can say, is a disease that is spread through contaminated water. We can give examples here. Examples of waterborne diseases. You can say, e.g., Yes, you can name one that you know, Lana. Any waterborne disease that you know. One, we call typhoid. Yes, typhoid is one. Any other? Any other? Lana, that you know. We have cholera, and we can also talk about bilharzia. Bilharzia. All these are waterborne diseases. And I've tried to explain what a waterborne disease is. It is any disease that is spread through contaminated water. Therefore, up to there, Lana, I think we have been able to finish our topic for today. But before I go, I would like you to go to page 59 of our science books, KLB Visionary Science and Technology. That is on page 59. Page 59. You look at how actually look at those pictures, and maybe if you were in school, we could have been in a position to explain very well, because we look at the picture and we are told you work in pairs, study the pictures shown below. You look at the picture and you see some of the effects I've talked about. A lot of, like in page 59, picture 1. We can say they are flamingos or birds, call them birds. They are dead. Why are they dead? Maybe they ate something, they drank water that was maybe contaminated, and as a result of that, they end up dying. Look at picture B. It's also another effect. A lot of fish, plenty of fish dead. Why? Maybe the water was also contaminated, and as a result, they actually died. Look at picture 3. You can see a crab there. Look at picture 4. Effects of water pollution on animals. So this all tells you that it's important that we take care of water. The little water we have, we take care of it, because if we mismanage it, or even the water sources, then we end up losing life, because water is life. Water is life. Without water, there is no life. Therefore, Lana, today I will give you a very small assignment, and this is the work. Very simple question. So let's call it an assignment. Answer the following questions. Question 1, you are told you name 3 sources of water. Question 2, explain why it is important to boil water. 3, you list, let's say 2, waterborne diseases. List 2 waterborne diseases. Then number 4, you're told you explain. No, let me explain. What is the meaning of the following terms? Let's say A. We talked about it last time. Pollutants. B. Waterborne diseases. And C, you can say pollution. So Lana, that is what I expect you to do after going actually looking this video, answer those questions. They are there to help us to continue revising well at home. Our aim now is that you will continue to get new knowledge each day, particular day. And therefore, every time, as I said in the previous lesson, we shall be meeting on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. So I wish you well. Take care of yourselves and leave the rest to God. God will intervene and will see us through. We shall be back to school, God willing. Everything will be possible. Let's keep praying, knowing very well that God is still in control. Thank you and God bless you.